Hey, what's up, team? This is Eddie Gray. Hey, I haven't been posting because we've been preparing for the launch of how to be a full-time TV composer. We're launching on Monday, 4/27. I'm absolutely stoked about this course because number one, it's going to teach you how to monetize your music, but on top of that, it's going to give you a path so you can move forward with your progress. So we've created a path where there was none before. So I'm absolutely elated to be sharing that. Stay tuned, how to be a full-time TV composer. All right, cool. So let's get to the video. This one is on producing rap vocals. I have a client, he sent me his track, and then I went ahead and I took it and I produced it. So if you're interested in rap productions, stay tuned. You ready? Let's go. All right, here we go. My favorite time of the day. Absolutely feel honored and blessed to be doing what I love to do, to be here in this moment right now, present, live, and sharing the good word. I absolutely love music production, and I want to show you what I did with this track. Let me go ahead and just show you a little bit just so you can get into it. Here we go.
Late night confrontations, sleeping with me in the basement. Lower your level to face me. I treated you like a replacement. Give me one more conversation. I need to say this.
Okay, I'll start with a couple of my favorite things. I'll go to the vocal a little bit later, but I really like the snare on this. Go ahead and listen to how it slaps.
Late night confrontations, sleeping with me in the basement. Lower your level to face me. I treated you like a replacement. Give me one more conversation. I need to say this. I'm sorry for everything.
All right, so one of the things that you can do to get your snare to kick like that is to use a transient designer, transient shaper, something that's essentially going to change the attack. Now, there's a couple out in the market. You can choose Smack Attack by Waves, Spiff by OEK Sound has a great one. For this song, I used Oxford Envolution. And I just used one of the presets, lifted up the transients, and it just hits hard. Now, one of the things I like about this specific plugin as well is that it has a knob here that's called Warmth, and it gives me a little bit of extra analog characteristics and harmonics. So if you're looking for that little bit extra warmth, then you can certainly achieve it with this plugin. Now, as far as the kick goes, the trick with the kick was getting it to really fill out the bottom. So I used a plugin called Low Air. So this is sub oscillator information. And I was specifically targeting, 20, 30, 40 hertz. You're not adding that much, but you'd be surprised just by adding a little bit, the impact you can make in a song. Let me show you what I mean. Here's without. Now, prior to turning it on, it sounded thin. It sounded just weak, right? It had no presence. It had no character to it. It just kind of sat there, just thumping along. But right here, using this sub oscillator, you can use other ones as well. Waves has Submarine. Logic itself has its own stock plugin. You can look for that. But the idea is that you add some sub to a kick. Look, even if you double your kick, more than likely you're not going to have 30, 20 hertz. And so just by filling in that pocket a little bit, here I'll show you with the E. So look at all the extra weight that I'm collecting here with the low air. And one of the things that I like to do with this bus as I send it out is I like to high cut or low pass so that I don't get any extra artifacts. I just want the the sub generated, right? I already have the slap of the kick here, but it's when you join these two that the magic really happens. Here, let's listen to everything again. Don't have it printed in this session, but I used a bunch of new reverbs by Isotope, well, new to me. And man, this vocal sounds absolutely stunning. I mean, it just takes you away. Listen to the space that it's currently in. Check it out. Yeah, and as some of you may already know, sometimes just one reverb isn't enough, and you're trying to kind of fill out the space. So here I use Tora Verb 2, which is great, by a company called D16. I use the Haas effect, so it's almost like a doubling effect as well, just to make it a little wider. Pretty sure this is a delay, a little bit of micro shifting going on for thickness, and then just more verb. So yeah, great stuff there. Let's go ahead and cover the guitar. Here's what I had when I first started. Take a listen. That's cute. It sounds nice, but I'm interested in guttural, visceral, fun, character, smiles. I like detail. And so the very first thing I did was I just added an amp simulator. So this is a TH3, nice little product. I'll update later. And, I use a very standard amplifier, the orange amplifier. And so that brought it up to this. Okay, so now we're talking, right? We're starting to get that vibe. Sounds a little bit more realistic. And then after that, rather than being a creative decision, I went into engineer producer mode and I thought, well, there's a lot of noise in between the performance here. Listen to the noise in between. Let me go ahead and zoom in. You hear all that guitar stuff going on in between? I don't know if it's the pickup or the cable itself, but regardless, I added a gate to rectify that. Now, look, I could have easily done this manually, gone in there, used the marquee tool, start cutting things out, but I want to save time. I want to be efficient. And one of the benefits is the more you know, the less you have to do. Hopefully you learn so much and you learn enough that you could just be efficient and you can just enjoy the musical ride. So here, check it out. I added a gate and then now no more noise. So think of a gate that opens and closes in the same way the gate's always closed. And when the signal hits the threshold, then the gate opens up and the sound is allowed through. So that's what you're looking for when you use a gate. So here, look at the meter. The sound will play. You'll hear it. And then once it gets underneath that threshold, once the signal, in this case, the guitar gets underneath that threshold, the gate will close again. Listen. Now, forgive the latency here, but there's a lot of plugins on this. And how the gate closes is determined by the attack, the release, the look ahead. And so you can play with that later. If you want to see a video on that, go ahead and hit me on the comments and I'll go ahead and get that going for you. So then after that, I basically just added some tape and some compression. Let's see what we did for the auxes. Added a little bit of distortion with Logic's pedal board and then just a little bit of reverb. Let's see what this sounds like now. Very cool. So yeah, make sure that, if you're ever mixing something that is a guitar, make sure it sounds like a guitar. Do the things necessary to get it to sound like that. If you're a beat maker by trade and you're not used to a guitar, you don't have kind of the experience. Well, then do the research, or listen to some records that you're into, and start taking notes. Hey, how did they mix and record their guitars? All right, cool. Maybe I'll try that next time. Okay, so the last thing I wanted to cover were the vocals. I really liked where these vocals were. This rapper is pretty unique with his approach. So I just kind of wanted to give you a heads up on that. And then maybe we'll talk about the hook. Let's go to verse 2. Here we go.
Confrontations, sleeping with me in the basement. Lower your level to face me. I treated you like a replacement. Give me one more conversation. I need to say this.
All right, so something new that I just picked up is using this arouser plugin. Now, I was put on game by my mentor, Matt Thorne. He uses it for his vocals. And of course, if you have a mentor and they're doing something, it's a good idea to at least research and discover for yourself why. Why are they using this, and can it benefit me? Well, I find this to be the absolutely most incredible compressor for vocals. Here's without it.
Late night confrontations, sleeping with me in the basement. Lower your level to face me. I treated you like a replacement. Give me one more conversation. I need to say this. I'm sorry for everything. I'm sorry for killing dreams. I'm sorry when we were teens. I'm sorry I broke the strings.
Yeah, so I find that it really tightens up the vocal, and it just gives it that professional sound. And so as far as the rest of the chain, I added some auto tune. Obviously, you can't really hear it. It's just more of a trademark sound that you get when you use an auto tune. I'm also using Voice Centric by Waves, which is pretty amazing. Really, really good if you want a nice workflow and you don't want to have to make too many decisions. I'm also deharshing the vocal quite a bit, and then I'm adding a sibilance plugin by Waves that cleans it up significantly. So every time you hear those S's, it's compressing it. Here, let's hear a little bit of that.
Late night confrontations, sleeping with me in the basement. Lower your level to face me. I treated you like a replacement. Give me one more conversation. I need to say.
Yeah, and this one to me is even a little musical in the way it treats the vocal. Really, really nice. So let's listen to all this before.
Late night confrontations, sleeping with me in the basement. Lower your level to face me. I treated you like a replacement. Give me one more conversation. Night confrontations, sleeping with me in the basement. Lower your level to face me. I treated you like a replacement. Give me one more conversation. I need to say this.
Yeah, man. I mean, I absolutely love it when a vocal or anything can come together like that. You just find all the right pieces. You're being subtle, and yet you're not compromising the art. You're making sure everything works the way it needs to work. All right, well, for the hook, let's close here. This guy's not a singer. So I was, kind of stuck in a corner thinking, all right, well, we can go on, Splice or sounds.com, and we can go ahead and try and get a sample. The budget was what it was, and so I had to work within the confines. And so I just figured, you know what? I'm going to take your voice. I'm going to run it through a vocoder. In fact, I ran it into two of them, and we came out with this. So yeah, in order to get that sound, I actually had to, create the normal voice two vocoders, and then I took another one and I pitched it down an octave, just so it can kind of create some depth and some sub. Okay, so the routing here is not too complicated, but it's interesting. I've got this vocoder, okay, and then I sidechain it to a bus. So this is called bus 15, and then what you do is you send the signal of the regular voice, in this case, him singing, to bus 15. Now, I did that in pre-fader mode, all right? And the reason I did that in pre-fader was because if you notice, the volume is all the way down of this guy singing, and I didn't want to hear that. I just wanted to send the signal over. So essentially, we're just using this as a scapegoat or something so that we can get this vocoder to talk to this. And so now we get this. And so with this particular knob, I can blend his voice. I didn't want to go into the hook and then not hear him whatsoever. I thought it'd be a good idea if we still heard, some semblance of his voice. So just by blending in his voice a little bit, you can still connect the dots between the verse and the hook. So here, listen to this. Here's With Nothing. So I like that sound a lot, and I went ahead and added another one. Same concept. Check it out. Spread out your wings. I guess it's time to say goodbye. Blow kisses to the sky. Fly. Spread out your wings. I guess it's time to say goodbye. Blow kisses to the sky. Fly. Yeah, so if you're ever stuck in a bind and you don't have somebody to sing the hook, well, you can use the original. You can mute them and then just use a vocoder in order to create something creative, something fun, something memorable, and then of course something exciting. So anyway, hope you enjoyed that video. If you want more content, if you want more information, go ahead and hit that subscribe and like. And we will definitely see you guys on the next one. We know who you are. Keep pushing, keep learning, and keep your frequency high.